From a soccer player in Sweden to achieving huge success in the global direct sales industry, Marco Passanante's story is proof that discipline, resilience, and heart-led leadership can change everything.
I was 20 years old, I was dabbling a little, but then when I was 25, I was working for a big newspaper in Sweden, 10 hours a day. I was playing football in second division in Sweden, so it was trainings every night. So I just wanted so much more out of life. I was often thinking like, life must be more than this.
He borrowed money to fly to Vegas, risked his entire football career to chase a vision, and he committed. And with that, he built a life and a system that has built the foundations for the business and life that he leads today.
It's like working hard, no whining. Let's focus on what we can do something about, but I give so much out of myself for other people. You have to work hard for it. Nothing comes for free. So just having somebody by your side meant the world at the time to, borrow his belief before I started believing in myself. And today, that's one of my biggest passions, right? Sometimes we just need somebody to empower us, encourage us, and give us some kind of hope.
What is it about business owners, entrepreneurs, founders that makes this even a question? How do I get motivated when I'm not motivated?
Fear of failure. It's an escape. In entrepreneurship, whatever kind of business you're doing, in some way you have to go out and chase, create results.
In this episode, Marco shares why minimum standards shape your future more than motivation, how he turned tragedy into a relentless drive to live more, why he believes you don't just build businesses, you build the people who build businesses. This episode will challenge how you think about growth, discipline, and leadership. Tune in now to the full conversation and let's dive in. Marco, welcome to the show. I want to get straight into it. And I want to start with a quote that you say, give me your minimums and I'll show you your future. And I want to ask you, what minimums did you have to decide on that created the future that changed your life?
I think it was in every area of my life. For example, I put minimums on exercises. I have to do a certain amount of exercises every week. In investment, certain percent I have to put aside, which I didn't follow for years, actually, to be honest. But the exercise I followed, that also date nights with my wife, but also in business, what is the minimums of whatever that action leads to a certain outcome. In my business, a certain presentation. So I always created numbers, which I knew over time would create a desirable outcome.
Let's go back a second, because I know it wasn't always like that. Like, he wasn't born with, let's decide on these minimums. What was the story that led you to this, to decide, you know what, there has to be a minimum, otherwise this is just not going to work?
Early in my career, if we look back, when I decided to dive into entrepreneurship fully, I was 20 years old, I was dabbling a little, but then when I was 25, I was working for a big newspaper in Sweden, 10 hours a day. I was playing football in second division in Sweden, so it was trainings every night, right? So I just wanted so much more out of life. I was often thinking like, life must be more than this. So what I did next to the job and football was to find a venture that could create my ideal dream lifestyle long-term. So it was just starting with minimums within that business next to the job and football.
It's really interesting. So I had the same question, and many people I speak to, even on this podcast and previous episodes, say the same thing. I thought to myself, there has to be more to life. And I've always tried to chase down, like, why did this question even come up? So if we look at, you grew up between Sweden and Sicily. What was your childhood like then that you believe in hindsight was the reason why you had to follow up with that question?
Growing up, 90% of the time was with my mother. Single mother, bartender. We never had a lot of money. And I grew up in a quite rough neighborhood as well. And when I was 24, my best friend shot himself. And after that, for 3 months, I was crying myself to bed every night. But I woke up, I went to my job, and I went to the soccer practice, football practice every night. But I cried myself to bed every night. And that period, I started I was going deeper in kind of life's meaning, what makes me happy. And I started realizing if I'm not happy, nothing else makes sense, right? So I think there it grew within me that I need to do something that fulfills me in some way. But also I realized that I cannot always determine how long I live, but every day I can choose how much I live. So I just decided I'm going to live more. I'm going to go for dreams. I'm going to go for bigger things in life.
I've actually got this written here. You said, I can't choose how long I live, but I can choose how much I live, which you just said now, which you beat me to it. what did live more look like in actual action in the next 12 months after your friend, can we give him a name? What's his name?
Ula.
Ola. All respect to Ola. What did live more look like in action the next 12 months after Ola shot himself?
Yeah, so this was December 2007. And the whole of 2008, I was looking different options. I almost brought a Italian fashion brand to Sweden, but they took hundreds of thousands in investments. I looked at real estate. I almost brought a pasta to Sweden as well, but I didn't have any money in the bank account. But I had a job, so I had a salary, and I made a little from the football. So for 1 year, I was looking. Then January 2009, I met the previous mentor I had at 20 years old who got me into leadership, entrepreneurship, and psychology, and reading those kind of books. And we sat down January 2009, and that's where I made the decision that the direct selling space, the network marketing space, is somewhere I could go on a quest to create a life of meaning, which back then was a lot around mental health, right? Because having a best friend shoot himself because of mental health issues, that became a passion, right? So I think passions often comes from, pain you suffered or experiences that kind of pricked your heart.
So if you connect the dots between your friend shooting himself and you meeting this mentor, you did something right to be in this space. Because I usually say luck is basically this. You're traveling, luck is traveling, and then you kind of like meet in the middle. There had to be something you was doing right in order for you to bump into this mentor. What was it?
I was searching, right? I wanted more, and I wanted to find a tool because whatever we invest time in every day is going to create a certain future. So, for example, a metaphor is think about a ladder across a building. So every day we're going to work. I was going to the job, climbing this ladder, but after a couple of years, what was there at the top if I hit the top of that building? And I saw my bosses already, they didn't have the kind of life I wanted. So I had to find another building to put my ladder on that could actually give me that ideal future.
So far I'm hearing you didn't have a lot of money, which made you think there's got to be more to this. And then years later, at 20 to 25, you kind of started stumbling across different things. You was going to bring a pasta brand, you was going to do this, you was going to do that. Nothing was really working, although we all know it's working perfectly in hindsight. And then your friend shoots himself, Ola, and then it sends you on a mission where you start searching for meaning. You meet your mentor, and then you go on this trajectory moving forward.
Yep.
Got it. That sounds good. So now, there's something in me that's asking this burning question, and let's see if I can phrase it correctly. That person wasn't born at 20. He wasn't born at 15. Usually people are born between the ages of 0 to 7. So I'm interested in, between Sweden, 90% of the time you're with your mum. You know, who was your mum for you that allowed you the space to even think?
I mean, my mother always, she worked hard as a bartender to put food on the table, but she always gave me so much love and comfort, even being away a lot. But she always installed in me, told me, you can be whatever you want, and always gave me so much love.
And that was 90% of the time.
Yeah.
What happened in the 10 with your father?
My dad, growing up in Sicily in the 60s, had to work very early instead of going to school. He's a no mercy guy when it comes to hard work, sacrifice. So he, being a mechanic and having a pizzeria, was working really with a pizzeria morning to night. And then after midnight, he was out in the garage working with cars.
So he was like a hard worker, but did he push that onto you?
Yeah, he did. I mean, there was like no whining. Growing up, there was like no whining allowed.
So like, man up.
Man up.
So your mum provided love, he provided tough love.
Yeah.
If we're
And work ethic.
Work ethic. How did those two create the force in you that shaped you?
I mean, looking back, if you ask somebody who would work with me today, I think I'm a mix of hard work, going for it, all in, but leading with the heart. And I think I have a kind of a rare combo there, where I'm, it's like working hard, no whining. Let's focus on what we can do something about, but I give so much out of myself for other people. So it's kind of a mix of love and grit.
let's dive into this and then we'll come back to that because I like where that was going in terms of the force that created, but you dived into something. So these are your words. You don't need to do anything to deserve my love and respect, but you must do something to deserve my time, right? And I found that I believe the same thing. However, my question, and I asked myself this question, how do you set the standard? Like, how do you know when you're giving too much heart or you're giving too much kind of discipline? Like, how do you set the standard without losing the heart?
Which is very hard, right?
That's why I'm asking.
A lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
If I look back, 2009, I did this business part-time for 9 months, and I went full-time. And I was kind of carrying some people, really carrying them on my shoulder, and I wanted too much for them. And I kind of felt like I'm giving too much for people who don't deserve it. And after a couple of years feeling with some of the people, they didn't appreciate it, and I gave too much of myself, worked too hard for too little, and then I just felt like there needs to be some way, some parameters I started looking at to know who I should invest time with. That's why I always say, like, I see your value. I see you, and I respect you.
Is that who that mentor was for you? Was he the first person that saw your value?
That mentor, who was the same mentor I got at 20 years old, who got me into the books and personal development, he was the first in my life who ever showed me something within entrepreneurship and the psychology of becoming a better human being, becoming better and growing yourself and showing a better way that I could do something great with my life. And I never had seen that in my life before.
So what did that do for you? You know, meeting someone like that who had this belief in you and belief for you to show you these things that you hadn't been shown before. What did that do to you? Everything.
Because he also told me this is possible. Combination with telling, but you have to work hard for it. Nothing comes for free. So just having somebody by your side meant the world at the time to, borrow his belief before I started believing in myself. And today, that's one of my biggest passions, right? Being that somebody for that needing somebody, because sometimes we just need somebody to empower us, encourage us, and give us some kind of hope.
So he saw in you what you couldn't see in yourself, and as a result now, you lead with heart because you see in people what they can't see in themselves. But I heard you say something that a lot of people do, which is a lot of the times, at least early on, you wanted it more for people than they wanted it for themselves. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
How did you draw a line in the sand for that?
And that's where it comes to the second part of that, right? I see your love and I respect you, your worth, but you have to deserve my time. So, for example, in business, there's some parameters, right? If we look at if I'm coaching somebody, working with somebody, if I give them some kind of assignments and they don't do it, they show they're not worth my time. From that perspective of me investing that time in somebody that doesn't stay true to their commitment. So that's kind of it's self-selective based on effort as well.
How do you define who's worth investing in? Actually, let me rephrase that. I was going to say something later. This is going to we're going to loop into the growth versus goals, right? You said, look, be growth-oriented, not goal-oriented. So I'm going to come back to that as a full topic, but now I want to understand what do you look for when you're deciding if someone's worth investing the heart in versus this person's probably going to take more from me than he's going to give? What do you look for?
Couple of things. One I look for a lot is value compatible.
Do they share the same values as me?
Yeah, or I think a good human being. That's a foundation. There's too many people who don't care about people. They just do whatever to get the results. So look, are you a good human being? That's number one, values. Then, of course, are you hungry? Do you want more than you have today? That is one of the most important factors. Then second is are you coachable to the extent you're doing what we have set up to do? And right, are you following the system we provide? And then, of course, willing to work for it, because at the end of the day, it's the effort. So I look at your effort more than your results in the beginning. Are you trying? Are you giving it all? So that's
very interesting. You know, this is even in it's lost my mind now. There's a very famous guy who talks to us all about how to build teams, and even other big gurus in regards to teams. Their order of priority to hire someone is, can they do the job? Will they do the job? Are they a team fit? You're basically saying, are you a team fit? Are you prepared to do the job? Are you willing to do it? And then you're looking for if they can do it.
Yep.
How's that worked so far? Because that's against what everyone's saying. Gino Wickman is the guy I was trying. Sometimes I lose my name. Gino Wickman, right? He's got this whole system, and it's basically like, did they get it? Did they want it? Are they a team fit? You're saying the other way around. How's that worked so far for you?
I mean, what I looked at is not just a priority, right? Those are the parameters I look at. It doesn't have to be a certain order at all, because it's the same, right? You're hungry, you want it, and then you're willing to pay the price to get it done, and then let's see how we can get it done.
In an interview process, how do you define if someone's hungry? Because everyone lies on the interviews. Oh yeah, I want it. Like, how do you define if someone's hungry enough, or even hungry at all?
I mean, I think that's not always easy. You'll have positive surprises, you'll have negative surprises, but I think that's part of the game, right? We live and we learn, and I think with time, so of course you will waste your time with some people, but eventually you'll figure it out. Time will always promote you or expose you.
So inspect what you expect.
Yep.
So you inspect them first, and then you let them know what your expectations are.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the beginning. Soccer days, football days, wherever you're listening to this from, America or Europe. You clearly had something in you before business. And the reason I keep coming back to this is because people think, business did this. I don't think so. At least from listening to you and researching about you. It's not easy to get into soccer, and it's definitely not easy to continue to chase it, especially when you get so close to the first divisions. I read that you had 2 deals to the top division that fell through. You had hunger in you. Where did that come from?
I think a lot just goes back to work ethic. Like,
well, we can tell you
whatever you do,
he was working
just
at an advertising agency. He was doing soccer, and you was in a relationship. You have the work ethic.
Yeah, because the soccer, I came early. When the other left, I was still out there. So of course, the hunger was of course also fed being, for example, 15 years old, and seeing people getting the things as kids that we couldn't afford.
This is what I want.
Of course. So I think the lack of things was, for sure, a big part of it, Like my friend who shot himself at 18, they had more money so he could get the latest things, and we could never afford those things. So, of course, lack was one big thing, but I think also growing up, for example, growing up in a tough neighborhood, there was periods, for example, this was in Sweden, I went to school, and I'm 42 today. So when I was like 12, 13, there was not many foreigners, and I was darker than other Swedish kids. And I think something was also to be different in a way where I remember one day I came home to my mother crying because one guy said a bad word, what you use in Swedish for foreigner. And I said, no, I'm Swedish. And he said, yeah, you're as much Swedish as I'm African. And I was so sad. I went home to my mother and crying and saying, Mama, why did you make, a kid with a foreigner? And, I had darker skin, darker hair on I already had like more hair than other blonde kids in Sweden. And now in Sweden, of course, it's so mixed. But back then it was different. So maybe it was that as well. Maybe it was that mixed with lack, mixed with the soccer as well. I was a talent, but I was a very insecure young boy. So I was a little too cocky. Because of insecurity, I was cocky. So when you're that cocky, that personality, especially in Sweden, when you are a talent, when you are good, but then you combine it with a not so pleasant personality, nobody wanted to see you succeed.
So in hindsight, what decision did you make through these experiences?
So in soccer, there was many, I would say, unfair situations where I was better, but they choose another person more for politics. So I think that going into business where I felt like, no. If it's to be, it's up to me. Now it's in my hands. No politics, no potential injury can stop me from missing that. Now it's up to me. Now I'm going to go find examples of people who live in my dream life. I'm going to pick their mind, see what they did, and I'm going for it. And I'm going to give all I got to change.
All I got, that's what I was going to say. It sounds like you decided, fuck this, we're going to swear. If I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out because it was just that way, not because of anything else. So I'm going to control everything that I can control. That's the sound like what your decision.
100%.
And as a result, you worked full-time in the advertising agency. You worked as, a goalkeeper in the soccer industry, and you did loads more because you thought, you know what, I'm not going to be lazy. And then obviously your father's words kind of kicked in here and went, you better work hard, don't whine.
Father, friend, my boss at job, there was a snowstorm. I was like 15 minutes late. You're late. Yeah, it's a snowstorm. Yeah, didn't you see that when you wake up? Drive earlier tomorrow. And always whatever, solve it. So like, I couldn't stand that environment. I felt like they treated me.
So now let's come to business, where rejection is part of the game. See, now this is how it connects, right? Rejection is part of the game. So over there, it's like politics, can't be in the top division.
Rejection.
Whatever it is. And now, like, you have to get so comfortable with rejection that it's kind of like got to become fun. So then how did you deal with that? Because it sounds like you have dealt with it.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that?
I mean, first of all, expectations up front, right? If you have the right expectations, you won't be disappointed. So one, I expected more rejection in what I do. I expected not to feel motivated. From A, where I was, to B, where I want to go, I expected that bridge between, that's failures, that's setbacks, and I knew the quicker I want to succeed, the more failures I have to endure. So I expected that from day one, so I never stopped. So I can say today, if you want to succeed, fail more often and fail quicker. So failure is my co-founder.
So it's almost like you raised your expectations of failure and you lowered your expectations of success.
I always say, focus on the right activity, trust the process, and expect not to feel motivated. And look at the right action before results. So I focus on the process more than I focus on the results, especially the first few years.
I want to dig into that because, your backstory is phenomenal. Early on in your career, you wasn't getting success. You decided 365 days, I'm going to do 7 presentations a week without the expectation of any success. And you did that.
Yep.
Right? And now we sit here and look back at it and go, wow, that was cool. But in the moment, I just know it wasn't, because I speak to people all day that are like, oh, like they said no and shit. So firstly, you committed to these 7 presentations a week for 12 months. You wasn't attached to the outcome, but you was committed to the result. What were the hard parts of that?
The lack of income in the beginning, the ROI on my invested time was terrible. I mean, I was working 10 hours a day for newspaper. I was playing football every night, games, weekends, and investing those 7 to 10 hours a week part-time. After done it 4 weeks, I'd made like $40 euros. Second month, I did the same. And there I made $100 Third month, same thing. I made 150. So like after a couple of months, the results was not there. But then again, it's going back to my football career. I started 5 years old. My mother paid for way over a decade for me to play before I started making small money. So I had to invest a decade to start becoming better, right? So I thought at least I can give this 1 year. And already then I'd read so many books, analyzed, studied for 5 years. So the mindset was that one of the keys to lack of self-esteem and self-worth is not maintaining the promise you made to yourself. So I said, I'm going to give it 7 presentations a week for 12 months in a row. I don't care how it goes, I'm going to do that. Because I thought that will give me enough time to start becoming good at it. Because whatever you're new at, you're going to be bad. And people give up too quick.
Repeat that.
Whatever you want to be good at, you have to do it badly many times.
Yes. That needs to be on a sticker somewhere. Because we think, I want to start something, I should be good. And then we quit. That's exactly the mentality that leads or becomes a leader, becomes the president of this company, because you have to expect it. Now, I don't want to kind of go off on a tangent here, because I want to stay here, because let's be honest, people are listening to this and they're thinking, oh my God, Marco, I get it. You did it. and I just struggle. Like I say, I'm going to do it for 12 months. Because here's the thing. A lot of people actually make that same commitment that you did. They say, I'm going to do it for 12 months. Week 3 hits, if they get there, and there's no momentum, there's no success. They've made $100. They might as well go and work in Tesco's or something, or Carrefour. So in those moments where it's not working, week 4, week 6, week 12, all the way to month 9, is it month 9 that it really blew off?
Yeah.
Great. Before we get there, how are you staying in the game? Like, what are you tracking weekly? Are you tracking improvement of skill, energy? Or what are you tracking to stay in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the skills I needed to be good at. What is these skills? That's what I asked day one. What is the skills I need to be good at to succeed here? And then they share the skills. And then I thought, I'm just going to go work on these skills. So to become a good presenter, I have to do what? Present. So let's just start presenting.
Yes.
Without expecting, let's start counting after I've done 20, 30. Before that, it's just warm up. It's just me testing the waters. So one mindset thing that helped me a lot, every time I lost motivation, because I doubted often, like, will this ever be worth it? Okay, let's switch the mindset. So when I doubt, let's start focus on why it could work. So it was kind of that war in my head all the time. And the mindset was, okay, what you do the days you don't feel like it, it's those days you prove to yourself you have what it takes to become a champion. Because champions in whatever sport or whatever, they just show up and get it done. Like if you have a job, if you listen to this, you have a job and you're building something part-time or you have a new business. At that job, when people have a business, it's like, oh, I don't feel motivated. I don't feel like it today. So they don't do anything. But when you have a job, you wake up Monday morning, the alarm clock goes off.
Even if you're not motivated.
It's not like you sit there with the morning tea or coffee. Do I feel like it going to work today? Do I feel motivated today? No, you get dressed, you do what you need to do, and you get it done. You go to work. Same when I played football. 6 o'clock every day, dressed, changed, put the gloves on as a goalkeeper, have to be there, change, 6 o'clock, practice start. Every night. There's never a thought about, do I feel like it or not? You just show up and do what you need to do.
This just gave me an insight on why is this even a question? Like, you're actually so right. Now I'm asking myself, why are we even having this question about how did you do it for a year even though you don't want to do it? I mean, one of the things is in a job you do have the financial security. But now I'm like even thinking to myself, why is this even a question? Like, oh, I'm not motivated. How do I get motivated, Marco? Like, it shouldn't really be a question because you would do it for an employer. You would do it for a boss. And let's be honest, some people are commission-based and they still wake up and knock doors. Yep. So in your opinion, like, what is it about business owners, entrepreneurs, founders that makes this even a question? How do I get motivated when I'm not motivated?
Fear of failure, fear of, it's like, it's an escape. Like with a job, they don't have to be scared because a job often, depending on your job, of course, but often you show up, you do a certain job there, you go home. There's no stretching or be out of your comfort zone involved often there. So you just go there, clock out your hours, get home again and relax. Or I think in entrepreneurship, whatever kind of business you're doing, in some way you have to go out and chase, create results. Like, I'm in direct sales. My wife, I have an amazing wife, and she used to work at Google. And then she started her own business. She had a startup. And she had seen my business, and then she started there. And she said, building my startup within AI coaching, she said, it's like your business. Every day I have to wake up, I have to chase customers. We have the product, but now I have to chase customers. So welcome to the business world, honey.
Yeah, true,
Every day you go up, and every business needs customers buying their service or products.
100%. And obviously, I'm not going to dive into this, but I'm going to mention it. Most people start for security building an amazing product because they don't want to do the sales. And then they end up building this amazing product that no one wants. But I'm not going to dive into that. Maybe in another conversation. What I do want to dive into, though, is you say, I don't even trust myself. I trust systems and processes because I don't trust myself. What does that mean in practice?
It means that, you can't trust your feelings. Feelings are fickle, which means during the day, because in coachings, many ask me often, how do you stay motivated? I don't, and I expect not to be. It's moments. Happiness, it's moments during the day. Nobody's happy 24/7. It's moments during the day. Motivation, moments during the day. In my business, a bad thing happened. It's not if I thought about it, of course I wouldn't feel motivated when a bad thing happened. When a good thing happened, then I feel motivated. then maybe I can focus on that good things to create that energy. Bad thing, I need to shift focus. So it's emotions, many trip over that. And that's why you need a clear outcome. What is the desired outcome I want? Because the work within it, I expect my emotions to get in the way. What do I need to do to get there? And emotions as well. I think it's too many coaches, speakers out there. I'll just do what you love. Seriously. I mean, if you love what you do, I'm happy for you. But even if you love what you do you love every moment in what you do? Absolutely
No
not. So
chance.
stop focus.
It's impossible.
I have a daughter. She's 2 years old. I love her. Do you think I love every moment when she kicks me the whole night, wake up in the night and stuff? Do you think I love that moment, those moments?
Probably not.
No. But do I love her less because of that? No. So I expect tough times there as well.
I think the emotion part is this that many people miss. They want to be happy before the fact, when reality is you will be happy after the fact. What does that mean? That means, let's say you had to do the 7 presentations per week for a year. Happiness here is, I did the presentation, now I'm happy. Not when I'm happy, I'll do the presentation.
Yep.
And many people miss that part. When I'm motivated, I'll knock the doors or make the cold calls or send the DMs or talk to my team, whatever it is. When in reality, it's like by talking to them, by having that hard, difficult conversation, you become motivated. And I think that's the part that misses. Now, just because I like to make this very tangible, my podcast idea is never to get people to listen to entertainment. It's to make it tangible. You mentioned that as a result of building these systems and processes, every night, you said if I do my to-do list the night before, I get everything done the next day. If I don't do that, I get nothing done. So what goes on in your to-do list the night before, and how long does it take you in the evening? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's just focus on what's the most important and most urgent task right now. And then I just create a structure for the day after with the different activities I need to do. And I write it down and I create a box next to them. For example, 3 o'clock I have to do this, 9 a.m. this, and I have a box next to it. Because my brain, if I create these boxes next to those tasks, it's something in my brain. The day after I look at those boxes, I can't relax until I just tick those boxes. But if I don't have the structure, and I wake up with a structure, I'm a lost soul. Seriously, I get nothing done. I get
I get it. Yeah, because you can't hit a target if you don't know what it is. And usually, it's actually funny. My wife just had a week off, and the day of going back to work, she says, the week before I took the week off, I said I want to do all these things. I remembered I need to do them. And I was literally, that's my life. If I don't put something in, I get to the free time and I'm like, now what do I do? And I go completely blank. So by having something there, yes, I get the positive reinforcement of ticking things, but also I have a target. You can't hit a target unless you know what it is. I have a visual anchor, a visual cue. So that's pretty simple exercise. It doesn't even have to be crazy.
It is. I mean, every month, I create the end result. Start with end in mind, right? I start with what I want to create, and then I break it down. I take up my monthly goals and I break it down to a certain daily activity. That's where comes trust the process, right? But you have to be intentional. What is that process every day? For example, if you have a business and you want to meet, you need 5 new clients, and I need to present for 10 potential clients to get my 5. Then I know 50 presentations, I'll have 5 clients. How many reach outs do I have to do to get those 50
You're
meetings?
touching on something powerful there, which is your no-TS ratio, which most
100%.
people have no clue about. You're saying, so this actually presupposes a lot of stuff, and this is what people do a lot of the times when it's second nature. You're basically saying so much without saying it. You're basically saying, I know my numbers.
KPIs, key performance indicators.
I track what the level of activity. I know my outcome, and as a result, I have metrics. I have a dashboard. I'm not trying to fly a plane with no metrics, and I know my no-TS ratio. So now that actually answers the question, how do you go a year without results? Because what you're really doing is looking for your no-TS ratio, even if you didn't know it.
Yep.
And then that kept you going.
Yep.
That actually answers that question.
And that's why you go back, as I said, being intentional, right? Every day, when I do something, is this a distraction or is this in the right direction? Is it distraction versus direction? Sitting home watching TV, it's a distraction. If you want more than you have today. If you're super happy, you reach your targets and goals and dreams and aspirations, great. Maybe you can watch Netflix all day. But if you're in a situation you want more than you have today, We need to look at what you're doing.
So now let's dive into the growth-oriented versus goal-obsessed, because I think that kind of doubles down on what you're saying there. What's the backstory? Like, because everything out there is like goal-obsessed. 20% of people probably know about the growth-obsessed, but what's the backstory for you? Like, when was the shift? When did that happen for you to go, you know what, being goal-obsessed isn't working, so I have to become growth-obsessed?
You know what I think it is as well, for many out there? When we're so obsessed, because I'm very competitive and goal-obsessed, I was even more. So it creates that kind of anxiety feeling, right? So then you wake up every day, you go into a business, you chase people, you're too direct with people because it's this negative push instead of finding that positive pull where like, okay, if I do the right activities, we will see growth. So that's also one part where I can go out with more tranquility in my energy and focus on how can I serve people? How do we reach the goals, but at the same time working towards the goals, focus on growing myself, growing the people. Because if the only security in my future is better than today, is that I'm growing.
Which goes back to that decision you made, which is I'm going to control the controllables.
Yes.
That's crazy. So,
creates a peace of mind.
Yes.
Sounds so easy, but if you have this structured, it creates a peace of mind.
There are business owners out there, CEOs, presidents of companies that are probably doing well, but they want to do better. Or some of them are stuck and they're not doing well. They're going through a slump right now. What can they do to reinforce the growth mindset versus the goal? Especially because it's easy to do it when the goal's there. It's like you're moving, things are well. It's easy to be like, I'm growing, but it's not on the other end. So in theory, it sounds great, but what does that look like in practice?
I mean, a mix of course, look at the KPIs, what do we need to increase, because often, we have to hit the fifth gear out of this slump. But then, of course, no matter what kind of business, life, relationships, it's ups and downs. So in a slump, I try to focus on things that can get me out of a slump mentally. Meaning, if in my business during down periods, I try to find, or tough periods in life, I try to find people who went through the same kind of slumps in their business and then came out on the other side winning.
Role models, examples.
So I try to just change my whole energy I'm in, right? The space. Like, okay, now I'm in a slump. It's so easy to get stuck in that slump, but I need to distance myself from it. Sit down and write down on pen and paper. Okay, this is a slump. What do I need? Be intentional. What do I need to do to get out of it? How would it look like? What's the action I need to take? And then what can I do right now and start taking the action on getting out of it, mixed with the frame of mind.
And also like something is, I guess you probably would have meant this, is a lot of the time, if we are growth focused, if we're in a slump, we created it. Long story short, I was going to say it in a fancy way. If we're in a slump, we created it. So a lot of the time.
But I agree with you to most extent, but there is exceptions, right? Where bigger things happen and you're in a slump because of this or that and stuff you couldn't do. But I agree with you. Almost always it's our own fault. But
let's just say 90% of the time. We'll leave it up to the 10%. Because obviously sometimes, yes, there's like morning crazy shit.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And a lot of the time we're told to start focusing on, start doing, start being. But no one ever talks about what you need to stop doing, stop focusing on, stop doing. And I guess that's what you're really saying there. It's like I get objective and I kind of like give myself this come to Jesus moment, which is like, what's the truth here? What do I need to let go? What do I need to start doing?
Distraction versus direction. What are we doing right now? Let's look at the KPIs in business, right? What do we need to do to get this? And what are we doing? Is this a distraction towards our goals, or is it putting us in the right direction? So distraction versus direction, and be intentional and break it down in every small hour, every day. How are you investing that time?
Yeah. So the reason I asked that question is because technically that was you at some point. You changed companies 4 to 5 times before you found your forever company at Zinzino. Let's talk about like the 4 to 5 companies. I mean, it wasn't over like 1 year, just in case anyone's listening. It was a journey.
But I was doing well when I left. 3 companies I left doing well.
Oh, got you. Cool.
Yes, so
really?
they didn't collapse. I
I heard you say that there was a company you left and then the company collapsed. Maybe that was it. The company collapsed after you left. Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I left when the companies were still there, and I was not aligned with because for me, it's if it's not done with honest integrity and everything behind that, I don't need this. I do it because I really think this is the best industry for somebody that want to help people grow, develop, and coaching and leadership is a passion. And helping, as I said before in the beginning, right? Being that somebody for somebody, and then going through coaching them, helping them, creating that brighter future.
So then, that's really good. So you actually finished at the top. So the companies were struggling. Well, eventually struggled. What were some of the must-haves that you looked for when you committed? Because you've mentioned values twice, maybe even 3 times. So then, what is it in this current company that you're the president of right now that gives you the certainty that this is it? It's people focused, it's growth focused. This is the place where I want to commit to.
Yeah. I mean, one is the people. 100%, because the culture is the DNA of the founders. So I just felt it's good human beings. People I felt that I could trust, and I saw their vision and where they were going, and I believed in them from a 30, 40 year perspective. So I want the longevity of something, but then also within your sector, do you have something that is revolutionizing the whole industry?
And in the past 18 months, your company's grown from 40,000 to about 70,000 or 80,000?
That's my team.
Ah, that's your team. And they have grown to
600,000 something active customers around the world.
Got it. So it's your team's doing well, and the company that you're working with is doing well also.
Both the team and the company is growing around 60% this year. So
cool. So then, let's talk about your team. What do you demand from them? Because you have the heart. I can tell you care about people. But you're also, you come across to me at least, you're not going to let people just get away with anything. Yeah. So what do you demand from your team?
One is for the culture. I protect the culture from people who are willing to be dishonest to get results. So I protect the culture. It needs to be genuine, authentic. I say honesty, integrity. So what I do when I work with people, I want to create better human beings as well. And that's where, I often talk about building the people, and the people will build the business. So it's a mix of when you're new, what do you want out of this? Focus on you, serving you, helping you get there, but also expecting that you don't try to find shortcuts in something that could violate ethics, high moral.
That's really interesting, because I in no way am anyone listening to this who's saying lies. But there are times, I'm not a liar. It's really interesting. Like, obviously, a lot of companies actually have the intention to be honest. But there are some situations where they're like, bend the truth, whatever it is. You're saying, say the truth all the time.
At the end of the day, as I said before, time will promote you, expose you. People will figure you out eventually. Your own kids, you can say whatever, but they will also figure you out eventually. And that's why I want to be an example. So I live by that every day. I want to be an example of a good role model. That's why I try to always have good habits in relationship, family, health, to be a good role model of that.
I'm going to ask you a stupid question because I almost know the answer. Have you been let down by some of these people that you invest so much time and effort and energy in?
Many times.
I already knew the
Many
answer.
times.
So the reason I asked that question is, how do you keep your belief high in people when results drop or people move on?
It's the self-talk. It's like, I think one of the keys to a happy life and more peace is learning, it's not easy, to put a rational response to an emotional reaction. So I get the emotional reaction, then I have to try to be rational. So I'm sitting to write down, and then what I tell myself is more, good, now I have time for the right people.
Do you do that immediately?
Yeah, I have to, because that we're human beings, right? So I get that emotional reaction. Okay, let's try to be rational here. Number one, I'm doing them a favor, even investing my time in them. That's what I tell myself. And that calms me down. And I said, now it frees me up to invest in the right person. Okay, I've been with them.
That's a gift. If you're able to do that immediately, that's a gift.
But it's a war in the head at first. Then I have to take pen and paper. I have to write down the opposite. Why it's I'm lucky that they're gone. It was meant to be.
And you've conditioned yourself to go from that very fast.
Yeah.
Rather than like give it 3 hours, 6 hours.
Exactly. In the beginning was hard, right? But now I practice after so many years, it gets easier and easier. Now I can switch quick without writing it down.
Nice. I find that there are a lot of things that I can do now that previously I used to have to like dwell on, write down, journal, record myself, go on a walk. So that's just like, again, going back to like building the muscle.
Yeah.
Let's do a firing round, because I think I've enjoyed this a lot. And I think we speak the same language on a lot of different things. So what is one habit that you won't skip even on your busiest day?
Making sure I do good things for my health. But it's a mix. Because I can't say one thing, because I need to do one thing in the right direction in my health, relationship, and business. So I would say something positive in the right direction.
And I like that you put your relationship in there. That's awesome. What is one piece of advice that you'd give to a CEO out there that kind of sacrifices their relationship for the first two? So they're like, oh, my exercise is really good because it helps me in my business. What's one piece of advice you'd give for that?
Which is easy. High performers, right? We just go. Right? We press on and we just go. We can forget everything.
We sacrifice our
Yeah. But it's about looking at other people. You can learn from other people's mistakes. And too often when I read or I spend time with super successful people, and when I hear what they regret the most, is that they along the journey to achieve huge success, they sacrifice the things that matters the most, which is family and often the health. That's why I think you should, in your to-do list, there should be something to that. And high achievers, go-getters, we have to learn to compromise as well, right? Ask the wife, the husband, like, listen, how can I make you happy as well here? I'm working hard for this, for our family.
Questions.
Yeah, it's like being intentional again.
You see, what they do is, you said something there, I just want to make sure, you said you let them know that you're working hard for the family. What I can only say about men here, but women probably do it too, but I've just met a lot of men that done this. In reality, they're working triple hard for the family, but they don't communicate that, and it doesn't come across that way on this end, and that's where the breakdown in communication happens.
Yes, and in advice in the communication here, for everybody listening, if you have problems with that, I talked to my wife about this. I said, family, this is why I do this. This is the future I'm creating for us. That means you're only number 2 in priority over the next 3 to 5 years in my time. So my priority number 1 in my time is creating our future, which means I will be gone a lot to create this.
Awesome. Couple last questions and then we'll wrap this up. I really enjoyed this. What's the biggest myth about success that you wish people would drop immediately?
They look at the wrong parameters. It's too materialistic. They think somebody, because they have the big house and money, are successful. Some people are so poor that all they have is money.
I love that. What does a limitless life mean to you today?
Challenge yourself, push yourself, and let's just see how far we can go. I'm so curious just to see, keep growing, keep going, keep going and keep growing. I'm so curious just to see how far I can take this person.
So push your boundaries.
Absolutely.
Marco, it's been amazing. Where can people find you to learn more about what you do?
Instagram, Marco Passanante.
So Marco Passanante, we'll put all the links in the description. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Stay limitless. Until next time, take care.